Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Relatively Gaming Podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and today I'm once again joined by TJ, aka Turn-Based TJ. TJ, how's it going today?
It's going great. I'm clean shaven and ready to go.
I
So
see that. Looks great. Today, guys, we're going to be jumping in. We're going to be talking about some new game announcements. Obviously, the typical what we've been playing, what we're looking towards in the future. Off to a great start with me talking. But let's jump into the news, TJ. What do you have for us?
well, I figured you would be bringing a lot of PlayStation news to the table today.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to hit up the Nintendo side of things.
Oh, cool, 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 cool.
First, sadly, Borderlands 4. We talked about this off the podcast a little bit, but it is indefinitely delayed on the Switch 2,
Oh,
which makes me a little sad. I looked into the specs. Apparently, the GPU is equivalent to a mobile RTX 2050.
okay.
So I feel like the GPU should be able to handle the game, especially if they dedicatedly downscale the graphics a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially like on the Switch One. I know when they did like Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch One, like if you do a dedicated engine, you can get it running.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the CPU is well behind pace on the Switch 2. And I feel like the game's very CPU heavy with all the shaders loading and all the processing going on. So I think that's probably why.
Okay.
But it is sad to see because for a while I was a dedicated only Switch 1 gamer. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining a dedicated Switch 2 gamer out there trying to get the hardcore games and being disappointed with this massive release that is Borderlands 4 that has consumed my life.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't realize it was indefinite. I saw the announcement of it being delayed, and I was just like, oh, all right, well, that happens. Seems odd, but granted, I'm not a dev, so what do I know? But like, I feel like they should know the specs of the hardware prior. And like you said, they're going to downscale. But you feel like they would have gotten that all checked out before making such an announcement. But what do I know?
yeah, I think they had a running prototype. They were showing it off. They had Amon being played at some of I forget which events it was, but on a Switch 2.
Hmm.
And people said it played very badly, but they had like a running model. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe one day they'll come back to it. If you can put Cyberpunk on there, you should be able to put Borderlands 4 on there, in my opinion. I feel like Cyberpunk's a very graphically demanding game. It can be downscaled a little bit better, but the upscaling of Cyberpunk is like past my graphics card, for example, like with all the ray tracing and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've had our technical issues here and there with Borderlands 4. And it seems like others have too. Not that Cyberpunk was anything to celebrate, at least at launch. Obviously, it's cleared up now with CD Projekt Red working on it. Uh, but yeah, you would also think the type of game that is. Cyberpunk's a little bigger and obviously more realistic looking. So, interesting.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
cars driving everywhere, flying stuff everywhere. Like you'd think that it'd be, I don't know. I'm not a technical
Oh, sure.
person,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
in other Nintendo news, Doug Bowser bids farewell. He's gone now. He was the president and CEO. Mario defeated him, so he is out of the picture.
yeah.
He's being replaced by Devin Pritchard. So don't know anything about him, but hopefully
She.
he likes American stuff. Okay, well, hopefully she likes the
Sexist
American
only. No,
side
I'm
of
just kidding.
Nintendo. Yeah, true. I did assume it was a man,
I
but
only
only
saw it
because
in
the name is
passing.
Devin.
I only saw it in
Yeah.
passing because the internet's being the internet. And somebody called her out, and people were like, she's been there longer than Doug. She has a good resume at the company. So, yeah, it's in good
Yeah, I don't
hands.
care that she's a woman. I
Yeah,
care if she
that's what
cares
you.
about ports and stuff.
Sure.
And then in other games are not political at all news, the Pokemon Company responds to Ice using the anime Gotta Catch 'Em All song in their
Fucking idiots.
promo video, which was yeah, pretty disgusting and abhorrent. And I'm glad Nintendo the Pokemon Company responded because they're notoriously litigious, so I hope they follow suit with that, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just them or if that was fan backlash or, people telling them. But either way, fuck Ice.
Yeah, yeah, either way, fuck Ice. I hope they get sued.
Mm.
In other not political gaming news, EA is reportedly to be bought out by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund.
Oh, I thought you said not
So,
political.
yeah, games are not. We don't do politics here, all right? Games are not political.
I mean, we definitely do for certain. No, I'm just kidding. Go on, go on.
Yeah, no. So yeah, EA might be owned by. If you don't know about the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, it's basically Saudi Arabia as a whole would own EA. So that is, excuse my French, fucking insane. We'll see how that pans out. Uh, in other news, how can EA get worse? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's heavy. I mean,
yeah, that's pretty tough.
uh, I mean, obviously, I don't know semantics, but like, obviously, if you have the money, whatever, buy it. But how does that affect their titles, their franchises, stuff like that? Like, if it were to go through or whatever, obviously, a lot of us are jumping to conclusions, just being like, oh, it's even on the table. So,
Yeah, yeah, even it being on the table was kind of off-putting,
yeah,
but I will say they would go private if it was bought,
yes,
which is interesting to me because I feel like when a massive gaming corporation is publicly traded, they're beholden to the stockholders, the shareholders, excuse me, to the point where they want to make games that make the most money, period, end of story. Whereas if it's publicly or privately owned, there might be an instance where they say, hey, we can take a bath this quarter to invest in a game and see if it works out. So potentially there's room for creative growth. However, I'm talking about EA, so they're probably just going to make more fucking sports card packs. But,
yeah. I mean, that would be cool if they were able to flex their muscles a little bit more. I know nothing about stocks and stuff like that, so I wonder if it goes private because a different country owns it. But I could be dumb and be like, well, no, car companies are owned by different countries and stuff like that. Probably is the case. So that wouldn't take effect. But you got to think of who's footing the bill there. Are they going to allow for certain creativity and whatnot? I know they're
true.
trying to reshape their image hard, and that's been a project for a while. But until, you know, we start seeing some actual growth, it's hard to be like, yep, that's going to be different. Like, I can only speak on it from the very limited circle that I do know. Welcome to Wrestling Talk again. Intervention. WWE's had a Saudi Arabia deal for, I think the deal in total is 10 years, and we're on the back half of that deal. They are on the back half of that deal. And they get like two events a year, one event a year is the deal. But recently they announced a Royal Rumble, which is like one of their big 4 events, is going to be there this year. So January. So yes, next year. Which is big because they were just getting like their own specific event and big show. So that caused a lot of backlash. And now WrestleMania, which is like their Super Bowl, their MLB playoff thingy. I shouldn't even brought that up. This is their biggest show. It's not 2026, but 2027 it's going there. And everybody's like, ugh, like big gross. Now, I don't want to be all negative because I will say the women's wrestling from the very first show that they did to where they are with the most recent show has shown a lot of growth. I can't deny that. However, things are still very limited, and in terms of how you portray or follow up outside of the wrestling show, because obviously it's like, oh, these are celebrities, we're trying to put our best foot forward. It's
Right.
one factor there in terms of them and everyone else. So, not saying cultures can't be different, but in terms of how we should treat people, that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, it's all very not great. Not great.
No, I mean, yeah, Saudi Arabia is also doing like a comedy show right now that everyone's kind of up in arms about. So it's they're dipping their toes into everything,
Oh
wrestling,
yeah.
comedy. Yeah,
Soccer, they
it's
own a team. They bring
yeah.
boxing events there and fights and whatnot. Yeah, they got a Pokemon Go thing that they do.
Yeah, no, I think they
Uh,
own Pokemon Go now.
oh, they own it straight up. Oh, I didn't realize it
Yeah,
was
they
that.
just straight up bought it. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's not just EA specifically, but yeah, that is happening. So I just wanted to bring that to the table because that blew my mind. I don't think they've bought a major gaming company like this before. I don't think we've seen a major gaming company like this go private if the deal goes through from being publicly traded at this level. I don't
Mm.
think we've seen that.
Yeah,
Um,
the only comparison I can think
yeah,
of,
sure.
and it's not even a country, is Tencent. And that's China, who's been like
Mm.
globbing up a lot of stuff. That's the only comparison I can think of.
Yeah, no, Tencent's a great comparison because although it is a company, China is communist, so they do have dealings with the Chinese government, and that makes people uncomfortable. And that's a whole other can of worms we can get into at
Right.
a
Yeah.
later
Yeah.
date.
Yeah.
Um, on happier news, though, Silent Hill F dropped this week,
Yeah. Okay.
and it has some of the highest scores in the series.
Oh, good.
The only game in the series that has a higher score is Silent Hill 2 Remake,
Mm.
which is, I mean, that game is fantastic. I haven't played it, but I've watched it a lot on Twitch. It's pretty fantastic. So Silent Hill F being up there is pretty good. A lot of people are praising the exploration. They're praising the combat. They said it's got a little bit of Souls-like combat in it, which is interesting to me in a survival horror game. So that's pretty cool.
What
Uh,
was two remake this year, or was that last year?
that was last year.
Oh,
It's
okay.
been at least a year.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, dang, two big titles, good for them. But gotcha.
Yeah, they haven't had an original title in I believe 12 years. Silent
Mm.
Hill F is the first original one in like 12 years. So that's
Mm.
pretty big because it's big for the survival horror genre. I feel like it's if Silent Hill and Resident Evil are healthy, then the genre is healthy in my opinion. Like those are two big ones. So it's good to see Silent Hill back
Mm.
taking swings. Um in the Borderlands 4 corner of news, we have an 11 gigabyte update that broke my game and broke many people's games. And Gearbox has a response now, as of yesterday, which is to tough it out and wait 15 minutes in the game for the shaders to load. Which is crazy because when I was trying to play, it was so choppy and bad. It was literally unplayable. It was an unplayable game.
Mhm.
I'm not like a snob for graphics or for frame rate, but like it was an unplayable experience. So to tough that out for 15 minutes is hard. I think you would just have to literally sit at a base and wait for the world to unfuck itself.
Mhm.
But I don't want to do that. So there was other alternative ways to increase your shader caches and stuff. Um, and then the final news of Borderlands 4 is just that there is the fifth Vault Hunters being revealed tonight at 10:30 Eastern Time at the Tokyo Game Expo. So that is exciting.
Cool. Nice.
But that's all I
Is
had for news.
is that the fifth border or the fifth Borderland, the fifth Vault Hunter? Is that coinciding release wise with the first DLC, or when is that expected?
Yeah, when it's going to be early 2026, they said you're going to buy a DLC where Ellie is going to be in it, and it's going to take place in a new region with new weather effects. They said, and you get a new character. So you get a new character and a new like story area. So it's a pretty big DLC in my opinion.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Good. All right, so moving over to my neck of the woods. There we go. Like you said, a lot of PlayStation news here. I'm glad you brought up the Doug Bowser thing because I did mean to write that down and totally forgot. Let's start off with Tokyo Game Show though, because I only have really two notes here. Not a lot that caught my attention personally, but there may be something for you. There was a lot, like you, the viewer. There was a lot of Yakuza announcements there. I think Kiwami 3 is getting a release date / remaster, whatever the hell. So there was a lot of that. There was a Cammy trailer for Street Fighter 6. But the big one that people are talking about is Kojima showed off a trailer for OD, which is the Xbox exclusive title, and the title is now OD: Knock. Trailer had a lot of PT vibes that people are pointing out, a lot of redacted information from text that was being shown. So people are wondering if this is what PT was supposed to be, and that demo that launched at this point 10 years ago and then never got made into, was it Silent Hills was what it was intended to be?
I think it was either Silent, yeah, I think it was Silent Hill or Resident Evil, but people are still talking about that demo to this day. That's how crazy it was.
Yeah. So trailer looks spooky as hell. It's starts first person, pretty much a woman trying to light a bunch of candles. Some of the candles look like small children. And you hear baby cries as those are being lit. And then as the last one is being lit, it kind of melts into blood, and a monster starts approaching from behind. And we come out of the first-person camera to a third-person view of our protagonist, I assume. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. But yeah, a lot of creepy vibes to it. So interesting. If you're into Kojima games, which I can't say I am because I've barely dipped my toes in the Death Stranding universe, seems like you guys will be eating well in terms of the spooks. So yeah. Last thing from Tokyo Game Show, you allude to the Borderlands news tonight, but tomorrow, as of recording, PC Gaming Show is also going to be going off. I don't know the specific time, but obviously as this releases on YouTube, it would have already happened. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let's talk a state of play though, because there was a lot, and I'm seeing mixed reactions on it, but honestly, I had a great time with this showcase. It was 35 minutes. We were told 5 minutes of that was going to be Saros gameplay. The reveal for that, which obviously happened, but there was a lot of other announcements throughout the showcase, a lot of dates that we're going to talk about, and I think the show as a whole kind of flew by, which is good. I know a lot of people, like I said, are mixed on it, just because not everything hit the mark, but I feel like sometimes you get to the middle section and you're like, ugh. All right. I didn't really feel that here. Even if every game didn't talk to me, I felt like it was a good flow, but to each their own. So, just going to try and be quick and go through everything that was announced at the State of Play. So I mentioned They confirmed the Saros gameplay reveal. We did start with that, which gave me a big red flag of like, if you're starting with this, you're going to be ending with something. We got the gameplay reveal. We saw Rahul Kohli's protagonist, main character. If you enjoyed Returnal, this is Housemarque Studios. I don't know if it's directly connected to Returnal or if it is just like spiritual successor, follow-up, whatever the hell you want to call it. Gameplay is very similar, third-person shooter, bullet hell. They showed off new mechanics with his character where he gets a shield. As he's in that shield, he can absorb bullets, which will then output as damage, I believe, for the next time he fires or as a big blast. Looks beautiful. Looks like more of what Housemarque offers. Yeah. And we got a release date reveal as well for March 20th of next year. Next, we had, I believe, Zero Parades for Dead Spies 2026 as well. This is a new title from some of the devs from Disco Elysium, which you could tell thoroughly with the art style. I know Disco has a lot of fans. And it captured a lot of people's eyes when that did come out. Apparently that studio's had some troubles internally, so I don't know if this is like from the studio itself or it's from devs that have left the Disco Elysium team and are now making their own thing, so I'm not sure there.
I believe it's the devs that left,
Gotcha.
if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but as far as I know, they got ousted from the studio themselves,
Lovely.
which is crazy because they were the creative geniuses behind the game.
Mm.
It's just an insane backstory, but yeah, I believe it's them working on their own,
Okay.
which is good because the Dead Parade or whatever it's called, I'm so sorry,
You're good.
is looks fantastic. So
Yeah. Then we got an interesting one. We've had a bunch of crossover titles recently, but Flight Simulator 24 from Xbox Studios is making its way over to PlayStation with a release date of December 8th this year, and also in a fun, shocking surprise, Virtual Reality 2 support. So if you want to get on your headset and start flying some planes in VR, you can do that.
I know some people who get really into the Flight Simulator, so that's good to see, actually.
Yeah. Next, we had a follow-up for Battlefield 6, Pew Pew Bang Bang. I think it was more story-focused trailer. Don't have much there, but they did announce a release date of October 10th, so right around the corner for you Battlefield fans. Deus Ex Remastered was announced. You can pop between new graphics and old graphics, which is kind of nice. February 5th, 2026 for that one. Then we had a game that but has been talked about for a little while. We had Halloween, the game, asymmetric multiplayer with the Halloween franchise, similar to your Dead by Daylights, your Friday the 13th. One person playing the killer, however many people playing
We talked about that on the pod a little bit
We
when I
did. Okay,
mentioned.
thought so.
Yeah.
So cool to see a follow up there. It looks great. I don't know if I'll play it, but the weirdest part of it, we did get a release date, September 8th, next year. Why so far away? Interesting.
And why not on Halloween?
Right. Like, it seemed, I don't know, from what they showed, it seemed good. So I'm not sure what they're waiting for. We got two quick ones here. The Last Epoch is in dev for PlayStation 5. Must be some big PC game, or at least they sold it that way. And the expansion for it is going to be launching at the same time across all platforms. So PlayStation 5 will get that expansion as well. Anime Town, 7 Deadly Sins, we got another look at with a release date of January 28th next year. Out now, at the time it was tomorrow, but out now, Sonic Cross Worlds, which has apparently been crushing it in terms of kart racers, was shown and given as a reminder, and they focused on the Mega Man DLC, so you'll be able to play as Mega Man and Proto Man. You get a Dr. Wily map, and there'll be a car with Rush, the dog, I think that's his name. Neo 3 got another trailer with the release date of February 6th. Dynasty Warriors 3 is getting remastered. Shout out to Dio, apparently that's his favorite. With a release date of March 19th. Code Vein 2 got announced with a release date of January 30th. I do remember hearing quite a bit about Code Vein, the original, but don't know too much about it. A little reminder that Final Fantasy Tactics is coming out next week, September 30th. I will be out of town for that. R.I.P. Let It Die Inferno was shown off December 3rd, so right around the corner. Can't tell you too much about the gameplay there. I do apologize. And then I think we got our only independent representation with Chronoscript, The Endless End. This looked amazing. It is a storybook writer, ink and pen illustrations. Something happens to him, but he gets transported into his own writing. And similar to Plucky Squire, which came out last year, it has this 2D, 3D element to it where most of it is 2D on the pages, platform, kind of Castlevania-esque. I don't know about the backtracking. But you'll be doing that, but then from time to time you will go out into the 3D world and battle some stuff as well. So if you didn't see this trailer, I would highly recommend it. It had a very unique art style and looks very cool. So once again, Chronoscript, The Endless End.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds great.
Yeah. Next one, we got a Crimson Desert trailer that got me all excited, and then I saw the title reveal, and I was like, god damn it. March 19th.
Every time.
Yeah, March 19th. Oh, and then TJ, we got the biggest announcement at this State of Play. Are you holding onto your chair?
I am now. I'm bracing.
PlayStation is announcing that they are making desktop speakers that you can use.
Yes, finally.
It's not even Bluetooth. They're through the PlayStation Connect, whatever their Bluetooth thingy is. You could use it as on your desktop, obviously, but in a shocking twist, you can also use it for your PlayStation Portal, the handheld that you can, cast your games from the PS5. Interesting. Obviously, they have a lot of peripherals that they're making. My biggest question mark is with the Portal. I thought the essential point of the Portal was I'm with my family. I'm with my partner. I'm hanging out, whatever. I'm going to play this on the couch and be with them at the same time. Why the fuck would I want a pair of speakers to then be blasting shit from that? But what do I know?
I'm just picturing someone holding the Portal with like two wires going out to the
so they are
just dragging the speakers.
They are all wireless, so at least there's that. They have charging docks that they come with, so at least we're not getting charged for that. But yeah, interesting. Then we got some quick announcements. Monthly games for October were announced, so you will have Alan Wake 2, Goat Simulator 3, and Cocoon available to you for free at the monthly games. Last of Us Day.
Huge.
Yeah.
That.
Last of Us Day was yesterday, technically, as a recording, but because of that, or along with that, Last of Us 2, the original and Part 2 remastered, have been added to the game catalog. So if you missed either of those titles and have that PlayStation Plus subscription, you can now play those. And PlayStation Classics being added, we have Tekken 3, Soul Calibur 3, and the Tomb Raider Anniversary for those of you at that tier of PlayStation Plus. On the quick train as well, Gran Turismo. I literally just typed in my phone, sold a lot. There's an update coming. I can't remember. It was somewhere in the millions of like copies sold. So, I mean, congrats to them. I don't particularly care, so whatever. We got a reveal for another peripheral with the God of War 20th Anniversary controller. I will admit, does look very cool. Now the actual big one. Final reveal of the show. We got a follow-up of Wolverine's Insomniac. The rumors were true. Lots of gameplay shown here. We also got the reveal that Omega Red, Mystique, and Sentinel are all going to be involved. We're going to be traveling to a few different locations, including Canada. I'm forgetting where the bar... Is it Madripoor?
Madripoor, yes.
Thank you very much. And it seems like Japan. Those are locations shown. Logan's going to have a few different looks. He's got a base look in his plaid. He's got some kind of cowboy looking thing. And then, yes, he does have the OG costume, which looks fantastic. Game looks very violent and brutal with its takedowns and combat. And then we got the reveal that it will be released fall of next year. So that was a little bit of a bummer. However, trust in the process. Insomniac,
yeah, let them cook.
The time. Just stinky. It looked amazing. If you want to see my live react, selfish plug, go over to TikTok or YouTube. Those are both up there. I'm just excited for this, as I talked about, I believe, in last week's episode. Really looking forward to this title. Wolverine's not even, a big character for me, but seeing what they did with the Spider-Man franchise, I'm just invested. We did see a little bit of traversal. He does have his motorcycle. That could have been a cutscene, though. And then we also did see him sliding across some roofs, and not the cityscape of New York, but it seemed more like favela type shorter buildings. So I'm like, okay, I'll allow it.
Do you think those costumes are going to be like Spider-Man, where you can change the costumes at will and they have different abilities and stuff? Because Wolverine has a plethora. He's got his X-Force costume, the brown costume, the yellow costume. Like, he's got a lot of different costumes that you can go into.
I think this alludes that there will be the options, because, like, why show off different stuff? Like, we didn't get that in Spider-Man trailers. It was just him in the PlayStation outfit. So I think, yeah, this is kind of alluding to the fact that, yes, there will be unlockable costumes. I don't know about skills associated with them. I would assume yes, to kind of give you that enticement to try different stuff. I just can't think from a Wolverine standpoint of, like, what are you going to do that's different type thing. Like, he's got claws. Yeah. Like, the web stuff at least made more sense of a gadget or something. So time will tell there. But yeah, I think there'll be options and we could choose. I think I saw somewhere in passing that it's not open world and it's going to be a little bit more segmented. So I'm interested to see how that plays. And yeah, ignore the dumb people on the internet. Mystique looks amazing. People are going to bitch because, oh, it's a woman character. Ooh, whatever. Don't. Just enjoy things, people.
Yeah, no, Mystique looks incredible. And I think that actually works. It serves the gameplay and the story better if it's segmented. It makes sense for a Spider-Man game to be open world because you can't contain Spider-Man. He can fly, he can web everywhere. So you got to have the open world. It's almost obligatory. But Wolverine, yeah, you kind of want those segmented sections. I feel like will be great. And for you in particular, I feel like they'll put a lot of different little secrets and stuff everywhere in the levels and everything. So it'll be great to go and try and trophy hunt and find everything. So yes, I think it'll be really cool to have the segmented levels, kind of like a Doom style situation with Wolverine.
Yeah, I'm curious how that will play out. Like, if it will be more linear or if it will be like Borderlands of old, where it's like, this is an open area that you're in. Like, is it just Madripoor's a section, Japan's a section, like that kind of thing. Like I said, it could have just been someone speculating and something I just saw in passing. I don't know if it was any confirmation from a dev or whatnot, but yeah, expect more Wolverine news. I assume throughout the year from PlayStation, because obviously they're going to want to hype the crap out of this one. Probably a dedicated state of play as we get closer to fall of next year. So maybe that would be the June state of play. We'll get more of a deep dive there. But yeah, for me, it's just like, all right, I'll sit over here and wait impatiently, I guess.
And I have to wait even longer for them to wait like 2 years to port it to PC. So I'll be just like in the window glass, like
Sure.
just watching. Because I love Wolverine. He's got to be in my top, 15 superheroes or something. So it'd be great to play this game. I'm very excited.
Well, TJ, you don't have to wait in the wings watching from the window forever. What have you been playing and actually getting your hands on?
Well, I'm still obsessed with Borderlands. It's become a real problem. Just playing it constantly. I'm in the end game now. We're in the end game now, Cap, and I wanted to try some of the end game content. You were talking about the use of Iridium and how it's kind of lame compared to past games, where it's only used to respec your specializations. Which is good actually because I've already messed up my specializations twice, so it's good to go back in and respec. But it is a high cost. It's 5,000 Iridium. Playing the game, not spending any of it, I had like 9,000 Iridium. But I did use it earlier today in the Mad Moxie's Big Rewind, whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah.
It costs like 500 Iridium or something to play a boss. And it looked like the boss had twice as amount of health. It had like 4 health bars.
Oh.
And it did drop some good loot. I was able to upgrade one of my guns, which is when you're at level 50 in Ultimate Vault Hunter level 1, it's always amazing when you find a better gun. You're like, oh my God, yes, because you hold on to your guns for so long at that point in the game. That's when the gun skins actually come into play. But yeah, I didn't think it was that incredible. I mean, I was glad that I found a gun and stuff. But at the end of the day, it was the same boss. I didn't notice any different moves or any different shields or anything. It was just the same boss with more health bars. So they just literally bullet sponged it up. Everything else in the end game is just finishing what you didn't do before you finish the story. Because, like I said, if you were to do every collectible, every single side thing, it would take like 150 hours probably at this point. It's a massive, massive game. So really, the only thing to do in the end game now is like replay bosses and farm them, or finish up all your tasks and all your specializations. There's a you could trophy hunt. There's a trophy for unlock all vehicles, and what I didn't realize is that the bottom 4 vehicles are all unlocked per your character reaching level 50.
Oh God. Okay.
So to get that trophy, you would have to have every Vault Hunter at level 50. Now, luckily, you can start at level 30. I have started a level 30 character. It is kind of weird how it works. You start off in the very beginning of the game, but everything's like level 32 and 33 and just absolutely murder bots you.
Oh.
So it's kind of interesting. They say once you hit level 35, you kind of scale out the world a little bit better. So it's kind of like survival mode right now for my Vex character. I wanted to try a different skill tree in Vex without like messing up my skill tree that I spent so long perfecting. But yeah, that, and I started a new character, which I think is always how I've got 140 hours in Borderlands 3, and how I have that is because I just would start a new character and play through the game. That's how I enjoy these games myself. So I started Amon, the Forge Knight, and he really plays so much differently than Vex. I got my ass handed to me for the first like couple hours. I had to change my skill tree to one that had a little bit more defensive ability. I really did not realize how much in my first playthrough I played with Vex as the face cat. And I did not realize how much that face cat saved my ass because, especially with the taunting, just half of the enemies are not shooting at me at all times. And that just saves you so much. Whereas Amon, everybody's aiming directly at you. And, I mean, you can jump and hop and skip out of the way, but you can only do so much when every single enemy's targeting you. It's pretty rough and solo. But I've gotten to a good point. I think he's like level 13 or something. So I've gotten to a good point now where I've got enough skills where I can kind of mitigate the damage. And the rocket punch is just incredibly fun. Like I said, you fly across the map. If those warden enemies that hover in the air, you just fly right up to them and punch them in the face,
Okay.
and they fall down. Yeah, it's pretty sick. All the cratches you can fly up to and punch. and you can increase your melee damage and stuff like that. So it's pretty. Every time I do melee now, I get overshield. So I'm just constantly wailing on people and punching them to death. It's pretty cool. It does feel like Brick of old, but like Brick on steroids,
Mm.
because it's like a fire punch and you get fire damage everywhere. Um, anyway, I'm gushing about the game. I love the game. I think I'm going to be playing it for a while. There's a chance that I might drop off of it, but I really hope that I can continue to play it through Halloween and see what they're going to do with that, and continue to play it through this DLC. But of course, other games will grab my attention, like that meme where it's like Borderlands 4 and then like the hot girl walking by and he's turning around. I feel like I'll be playing the Outer Worlds 2, or Silent Hill F, or just other games in general. So we will see how long this holds my attention, but for now, it's held my attention for 178 hours, so I feel like I've got my money's worth for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, I've been playing Hades,
Cool.
Hades 1, because I watched your stream of Hades 2, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, the gameplay in these games are fucking unbelievably solid. So I went back and played Hades 1, and man, am I rusty. Very rusty. I haven't gotten very far. This morning, I got to the Bone Snake.
Hmm.
The Bone Snake and what is that second level called? I
Asphodel.
can't remember. Asphodel, yeah. So I beat Asphodel, but I just didn't beat the boss. That's as far as I've gotten so far. So I've still got a long ways to go. But I just literally that run, I just unlocked the second dash. So
Ooh.
I only had one dash at that point, and that's why I was getting my ass kicked. As soon as I got the second dash, I got all the way to the boss of Asphodel. So we will see.
Mhm.
We'll see how far I can get in the game. I've never beaten it. I've never beaten a single roguelike in my life. I just enjoy them a lot. But maybe Hades will be the one that I finally beat. Maybe I'll buckle down and play it. We will see. It is capturing my attention right now, though. When I'm not playing Borderlands, I'm really obsessed with Hades.
Nice.
What about yourself? What have you been playing?
Well, I guess we'll stick on the Hades train. So Hades 2, as you alluded to, is out, and I did do a stream of that. And like you said, it's more Hades, but it is in the best way possible. Melanoy has a lot of similarities to Zag in terms of, your basic gameplay aspects, your basic attack, your heavy attack, your dashes, whatever. She doesn't have a cast as Zagreus did, which obviously the cast you could upgrade depending on the boons that you had from the different gods and goddesses. But instead, she is a witch, or at least her teacher is a witch, so she has magic abilities that she can use. So that is kind of substituted for this cast. It, at least from what I've seen, stays a circle. So you cast a circle on the ground, and enemies are slowed and cannot move in that circle, and you can upgrade it over time to do status effects. So, for example, I was getting a boon that allowed anybody who was in that would get burned over time and take that damage. Initially, like I said, it's just a cast on the ground. I had one ability where I could kind of launch it. So I hold the button down and it goes. And as soon as I release it, then it would pop up. So you can kind of use it to your advantage in terms of, I want to dash into a group, have them freeze, get out of there, take the damage, or cause more damage from outside, or stop invading forces from a distance so you could focus on things more close to you in proximity. So there's a lot of flexibility. But Melanoy's been a lot of fun in Hades 2, and I think the thing that intrigues me the most about it is honestly the story that they're telling so far in Hades 2. Now, I know this game's been in early access for about a year now on the Steam side of things. I haven't looked into anything, watched anything, touched any of the gameplay, because I was already like, yep, I know I'm going to get this title. While early access is probably huge for the devs in terms of a gamer experience and what they're doing, because it's not free QA, but it's more QA than you don't have. I was like, no, I don't want to jump into it and not face bugs. That's not necessarily the bad thing, but just see it unfinished, I guess. So I waited, jumped into it here, and from what I knew of the story, or what I thought I knew of the story from the reveals they'd shown in the past, I thought this was going to be a story of Melanoy kind of getting revenge on, like, Hades and Zagreus. Like, I thought she was like a castaway sister. I think I kind of compared it to at least the MCU. I'm not sure if it's comic accurate. But like Thor Ragnarok, Hela shows up and she was a sister of Thor that was locked away by Odin. I thought it was similar to that, where she's been around this whole time, but Zagreus has no idea. And we're going to, fuck shit up. Turns out that's not the case. I guess spoilers for Hades 1, so just be careful, everybody here. I won't go too in depth, but the main story of Hades 1 was Zagreus was trying to escape hell and learns of his mom and wants to find his mom and learn why she left, essentially. Eventually that happens. Everybody's happy. Persephone comes back to hell, and you kind of heal family trauma that's happened, or whatever. And we see that continued in Hades 2, and we learn that Melanoy actually was born like post Hades 1, like she's a new BB. But something happened with the Titans, it seems, and Kronos. And Kronos and the Titans, I think it might just be Kronos himself, we'll see, has attacked Hades and Hell, and Melanoy was kind of cast away as like, oh shit, take the kid, save her, get the fuck out of here. And her teacher and mentor and caretaker, Hecate, was the person here that has, allowed her to grow up to this point and like, all right, we're going to get revenge and avenge your family and get back at Kronos. And she's kind of been preparing her for this day. So I don't know exactly how old Melanoy is. I don't know, like 16 to 20, like something around that. Like she's a young adult. I don't know. It's gods. Who knows how anybody ages or anything like that. But like, this has been her whole life. And now she's finally tackling that head on. She seems to have fond memories of her family. Obviously, she was a baby when she left, so I don't know how much of a relationship there is there, but she has a positive light on all of them. She has a portrait in like the main hub of her parents and Zag with her as a baby. So I'm really intrigued to see her journey, what is needed as the player, and from her to like go back against Kronos and kind of get them back. I'm really excited to see how everybody else is affected by this, because we've gotten, at least in the 5 runs I did on stream, we've gotten a lot of hints at former characters. Like Nyx's name has been brought up a bunch. We have the sleepy god for some reason in like an eternal rest in the hub world. Skelly may have a relative that is helping us. We've run into a few of the gods from the first game. They all have different art styles, so at least from what I've picked up on, it's like it looks like they're kind of in battle form, like they have battle armor on, except for Aphrodite, who has nothing on, clearly. Jesus. So like they're dealing with the aftermath of this or whatever's going on. I have run into a few new characters, which I won't spoil here, and it's only been a handful. But some new gods, some new titans that are introduced, so that's been cool. We've seen Artemis again make her come back, but she's kind of in a parallel to... I don't remember the character's name, but the Scythe guy, Grim Reaper dude in Hades 1. Yeah. It seems like she has a similar role. You run into her rooms and you kind of compete against her to defeat demons, but she's running around and doing that. Yeah, so I've really been enjoying my time with it so far, but I think the story is the biggest element, and it's not like anything else is bad. It's just more of the same, and then here's this new shiny thing, that's taken a hold. I've only done a few runs. Luckily enough, in my first run and a few others, I was able to get to the second area. I have fought the second boss a few times, but have not have had success in defeating them. But in terms of level design and the areas that you are running in, everything looks gorgeous. Music slaps in a few places. I'm happy about that. So even in death, I'm like, yep, that was fun to listen to. I'm trying to think of what else I want to shout out. I'll probably keep playing this game on stream. I gotta think about it. But I did pick it up on Switch. I got a trip coming up, so I might play it a little bit more. At the end of stream, we did unlock a few different extra weapons. Granted, I only dipped my toes into one of them, so we'll have to see how those feel different from the main staff that Melanoy has as her default weapon.
Yeah, I do have a question for you in that
Please.
regard.
Yeah.
The sickle and knife that I forced you to use at the end of the stream.
Sure.
Did that also grant the circle ability in the cast slot, or does the weapon change the cast slot?
Good question. So the cast remains the same. It's always going to be that circle ability. It will just depend on what boons that you do grab, if it does a status ailment effect, or if you can throw it far. There may have been a few other ones that I'm blanking on, but those are the ones I picked of like what it does. But it was the constant of the circle. So similar to Zagreus, where depending, that was constant throughout of the little diamond thingies.
Right.
And then you could upgrade it however. So yeah, sickle and spear and whatever other weapon, they're just move sets and a little different for the heavy and the normal attack. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Lots of progression that you can make in terms of run to run, like overall progression, and then independent. There's a few new resources that they throw in there. You're still going to have the relationship building stuff. I've at least so far found the nectar, so you can get keepsakes from people, which is similar to the first one. Like, it's funny, there's a lot of parallels from like the first game to this one, and you're like, oh, well, this is what this was, and like, oh, that checks the box there. And this is Supergiant, the devs, their first sequel. They've made a new title every time, so I mean, interesting to see what they've done so far. Outside of the story, my biggest question is going to be how long this game is. In Hades 1, there was 4 areas, and then the boss. I'm curious how long this is going to be. Like, obviously, with it being the roguelike, you don't want it to be too huge in case you do die, because then it's a huge run back type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of am like, is this the same, or are we going to have a lot of areas to go to? I'm like, give me more. There has been a few blocked paths in the hub world. Now, this could just be like Hades 1, where eventually like it expands and you get more rooms and stuff like that. But I wonder if they made a bigger game with more areas, maybe those blocked paths could be like, you could go that way for 4 areas. You could go that way for 4 areas. Time will tell. I don't know. But I'm intrigued. So
yeah, or you could be like me and play Hades for 50 hours and see mostly just the third area.
Sure.
Just getting there and dying over and over again. And I feel like also the added time in is the different weapons. It's like, I beat the game with this weapon, now let me try this weapon. But I understand 4 areas is kind of short, especially if you're as proficient as you are. Watching you play, you're pretty good. So
well,
once
thanks.
you get better, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's short. No, it's certainly, because if you get on a good run, like each run could take a half hour, or so. I'm just curious of like if it's going to be, with all the parallels from the first game, if it's going to be a direct like, yep, we had 4 areas in the first game, it's going to be 4 areas again. Then you fight, I assume, Kronos. Boom, progress however many times you need to do that as you get more and more story elements. I wonder if everything's going to be a 1-to-1 in terms of, this was Hades 1, this is Hades 2. While it's different in terms of like what it's telling and the characters, those core mechanics are all the same. So I'm curious about that. Obviously the presentation's a little bit different too with the map. Like with Zag, you could see him scale stairs up. Exactly. With this, Melanoy's like a little game piece, and she like hops, and you're like, I don't know. This map could go anywhere, you know? So, just curious there.
Yeah, maybe instead of just directly having the four, maybe it's always you have to do four levels, but maybe there are some side levels where it's like this one counts as level 3.
Mm.
You don't have to do the normal level 3. Like that could be interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
We'll have to keep playing it more, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of up in the air. But yeah, looking forward to it. I didn't expect it to get this early because I thought I was gonna wait for the PlayStation side of things just because that's my ecosystem. But once it was nearing, I was like, nope, we'll be here. So I mean, I played through the original Hades twice, once on PlayStation 4 and once on PlayStation 5. So it's not like I wasn't gonna play this again. Like you said, it's easy to dump hours and hours into just because the gameplay is so good. So even if you don't make it far or necessarily to the end of your run, it's like, yep, all right, that thing happened. Let's do it again and mix some things up. So yeah, really been enjoying Hades 2 so far.
Yeah, I didn't know those story elements, by the way.
Oopsie.
I was, even though I was watching, I was
oh, the ones
no,
I
none of Hades 1. Yeah, and Hades 2. Even though I was watching, I was like, I don't know, I was not absorbing some of that for
That's
some
fine.
reason.
Yeah.
So that's a cool story element, actually. That's really cool. I like that story. That makes me want to play the game now. Can't afford it at the moment, but yeah, that
Yeah.
makes me really excited for it, especially that it was running good on Switch. I was watching you play it on Switch and it was running well.
Yeah, I did
So that
play
makes me
it.
happy.
Did play it on base Switch, so if anybody's curious there. So it's out now on PC, Switch 1, Switch 2. And yeah, I was playing on Switch 1. So
Yeah, I discovered the roguelike genre on the Switch with Enter the Gungeon. That
Mm.
was my first enter the foray, so I prefer to play my roguelites on the Switch because it's just like nostalgic for me. So
Sure.
the fact that it runs well on there makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I'll talk about one more game. This one will not go as extensive with, but I talked about it a few weeks ago. But Baby Steps also came out. I did stream this Tuesday. I will admit I was not in the most chipper of mood, not because of the game standpoint. It was more of me being on point with streaming. My bad. But Baby Steps is more of what I really enjoyed in Steam Next Fest. Story of Baby Steps, for those of you guys who don't know, so this is from Bennett Foddy. So if you played or know of Getting Over It, the guy in the little pot with the like pickaxe or shovel, sledgehammer that he's got to launch himself up the mountain, it's from him. So it's similar to a lot of those games like Quap and Chained Together, where it's frustrating platforming. You're gonna fall, reset, gotta go back and do it over again. But this has a little story to it. You are playing as Nate, who lives in his parents' basement. Seems like he spends his existence down there with lots of snacks, TV, etc. You open the game as your parents are calling you for a family meeting. You wake up from your nap, and for some reason, poof, you magically get teleported out of your basement and into the wilderness. Nate wakes up. There's a gentleman waiting for him. I'm blanking on that guy's name, but the guy just wants to help you out. He's like, hey man, like, are you okay? What's going on? And Nate is very dismissive. He doesn't want to talk to the guy. He's like, no, I can take care of myself, whatever. And you learn that Nate just needs to really go to the bathroom. So you're going to help Nate find a bathroom. So you're this large and in charge gentleman with no shoes, wearing a onesie, and you're trying to scale this mountain ahead of you, trying to find some type of restroom to relieve yourself. I like in this game, I know it's meant to be frustrating, but if you get in a good rhythm, it's not bad. Like, it's each of the triggers on the controller controls one of your legs. So you're pretty much the whole time just toggling, green screen controller because blue. You're just toggling in between your legs and your steps, and you move forward with the left analog stick, or at least your body leans that way. That's it. That's all you have in terms of a game. You can switch what side the camera's on, but outside of that, I don't think there's any controls. But once you can get into a rhythm with it, it's like, oh yeah, you're flying. You know, you'll fall from time to time. That's going to be a learning process. But as you go farther up and up the mountain, they're going to give you more challenges. So maybe the floor is not complete and there's going to be a little bit of a gap, so you got to watch your step. Or maybe you're crossing a slippery terrain as the mud, so you don't want to lose your footing and then whee slide down the mudslide. I played it on stream for a few hours. I got back to where I was at the demo at the time at Steam Next Fest. Got to that point. I did fall. I did get back up there and got a little farther and then fell. I tried to play a little bit more this morning to see if maybe clear head, not feeling like I need to perform, I could get farther. I eventually did get farther. I found a little bit of a hack where you can pivot the camera to give you a top down. On stream, I was helping myself. You can see a shadow of your foot. So I was trying to line up the shadow, then place it down, and go that way. This morning, I put the camera like bird's eye view so I could literally watch where my feet were going.
Okay.
It seemed to help a little bit. The point I got to, it was similar challenges to previous where it's like there's going to be a gap or, it's not a complete floor. They changed elevation on me. So one step was like way down here. The next one's going to be up here, but it's a really skinny path. So if you misstep, you're going to fuck this up. I did end up falling. I think that was the first time I actively got frustrated with the game of like, shit, which, kind of the point of these things. But I have been enjoying my time with it. It's one of those, silly, stupid games in terms of a premise. It's not anything that's going to be breaking the bank of a story. Though I have heard in some reviews, there may be some story elements of like a narrative that the director's trying to tell you. But we'll see if that comes to fruition. Looking through the trophies, there are some things you could do in the world. Like one that I've seen is like somebody put up a poster and it's like, hey, I lost my cup at the carnival. Can you bring it to the fire tower? And I'm like, I don't know where the fuck any of that is, but sure. I did find a treasure map at one point. Haven't found said treasure. So there's little things hidden around the world. And I alluded to the trophies. There is a trophy to do this in under 10,000 steps. Don't know if I'll ever do that. We'll see. But yeah, just silly fun. So if you're looking for something like that, I would recommend it. It's been a good time. All right. Well, it's time to get into a quick topic today.
Sure.
It's time to teach. Time to learn about something new, because it is relatively gaming here. So I'll talk something that's loosely relatively tied to gaming and pertains to me. So I'm going to be leaving next week. I'm going to Universal in Florida. And one of the big reasons I am going is because, TJ, I'm not sure if you knew, but every spooky season, loosely, August to October, Universal hosts their Halloween Horror Nights. So select nights through those months. They have essentially 10 haunted houses that you can walk through. There will be scare zones scattered throughout the park. Some of the rides will be open at night, but that's really not a main thing that people go to. And then they'll have food booths that, have special stuff that you can only get to the event. Now, for those of you who know me, and for those who don't, I'm a scaredy cat. All right, I'll play some scary games from time to time. Maybe I'll watch a scary movie from time to time because I know I can punt Chucky 10 feet or farther, and it's a 40-year-old movie, so it looks a little bad. But in terms of seeking these things out, not my cup of tea. Definitely not for me. So this seems like a weird choice. Brett, why would you want to torture yourself like this? Good question.
Exactly.
I always enjoy watching the houses second screen through YouTube, through creators like Ordinary Adventures and Tim Tracker, and there's plenty of other theme park content creators out there. I always enjoy just seeing the houses because it is an undertaking of like a lot of art time and, presentation and whatnot, and I always thought it was cool. The first hook, and it all ties back to wrestling, it always does. The first hook of like why I wanted to go this year is they do have a WWE house.
Oh, nice.
There is a house called the Horror of the Wyatt Six. Now, TJ, I'm going to be teaching you multiple things in this episode.
Sure.
So the Wyatt Six is a tag team or rather a faction in WWE currently. They've been around for, at this point, I want to say a year. It is 5 individuals. Yes. So 5 characters. Buckle in or strap in. The members of this group are Uncle Howdy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Huskus the Pig, Mercy the Buzzard, and Abby the Witch. Now, they're all spooky, as you kind of alluded or could have picked up with the Halloween Horror Nights topic. But in storyline, these are all troubled individuals who have faced opposition or troubles in their wrestling career, which was a nice little tie-in of like why certain individual has now turned to the dark side and is putting on this mask and acting a little bit more deranged, I guess you could say, right?
Sure.
So I appreciate that, but they've been around for about a year. However, the lore goes deeper. Get the shovel out. We're going down. The name Wyatt has some significance, or a bigger significance than just the group. So there used to be a wrestler named Bray Wyatt. He's a second generation wrestler, so his dad wrestled. He might even be third gen. I don't know. Papa Griff will have to correct me at some point on that. I think it's just second gen. He wrestled, he got brought into WWE. You know, he went through like their development system, made a group called the Wyatt family. So it was him and it was 2 guys, and they were like swamp Florida man, like spooky essences. Really got over, so people like really enjoyed them and they were popular. They went on to the main roster, had their successes there, whether there's in the tag division or single gold and stuff like that. And Bray kind of was the standout as the leader. And he wrestled for many, many years, and he had an evolution to his character where he went from Swamp Bayou Man to like this prophet messiah figure, but on the spooky side of things. And then he took it a step farther, and during the pandemic, a little bit before the pandemic and stuff like that, he tried I don't know if there's a better term for it, like a schizophrenic type character. So one half of him was Mr. Rogers. He had a sweater on. He was all friendly. He had like a kid's TV show that he did like backstage segments and video segments in. And in that show, akin to is it Mr. Robert? Rogers. Why am I saying Robert?
Rogers.
Excuse me. Rogers. Mr. Rogers' Friendly Neighborhood. He had the puppets, right?
Right.
Bray also had puppets. And these puppets were Mercy the Buzzard, Ramblin' Rabbit, Huskus the Pig, and Abby the Witch. But they were little literal puppets that he would be talking to and doing the show with, and they all had their own personalities and whatnot. On the other side of the coin, with this Mr. Rogers character, Bray also had a very demonic voice that was like constantly taking over him, possessing him, like looming over him. And the puppets were all afraid of him and whatever. And this character was called the Fiend. Now, the Fiend was just Bray in this mask. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen it, but you know that Batman comic with Joker has like his really stretched out face?
Oh, yeah.
The mask looked very similar to that. So it was like pretty freaky for like a PG product of WWE.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
And so he would play this demonic role. He would wrestle as both characters, but mainly as the Fiend. And when he was the Fiend, he was like supernatural. Like spooky shit would happen, or like you would hit him with all these moves and he would just boop, pop right up like nothing happened. At one point during the pandemic, he got set on fire and was like all melted and shit. He recruited a woman wrestler who became also demonic and was like his protege. Eventually, sure, she turned on him, and that was a whole thing that wasn't very great. But so he did this run. I think we got to like 2022, 2023. Sorry, I'm giving you all the lore here. He got fired. He got released from his contract, and people were bummed. And he was like, you know, all right, it is what it is. You know, did things with the Fiend. He was a very creative individual.
Yeah.
But eventually he came back. There was new management. That management really liked him, so they brought him back in, and everybody was really ecstatic. And his return was so awesome too, because they gave it all this spooky presentation, and this was the first time we saw a personification of the puppets. It wasn't the people that we knew today, but it was people like dressed up as the puppets in human form, and then he came out of like this spectral door. And it was a really cool and emotional moment. And he thanked the people of like being supportive of him and all that jazz. So he came back, and then we got the introduction of this Uncle Howdy character. And Uncle Howdy was like, we didn't have much lore on him. I don't know if it was meant to be like similar to the Fiend, of this looming dark presence over him. I don't know. I assume it was some family relationship that he was talking about, where it kind of felt abusive, but also was just like that shadow on his shoulder. I don't know. We didn't get a full unfolding of it, because unfortunately Bray passed away. He had, I believe it was a heart condition. I don't know if it was COVID related, but he ended up passing away. And what made it even harder was his brother, his like IRL brother, was finally involved in a storyline with Bray. He was portraying Uncle Howdy. So he was actually getting to work with him. And his brother, you know, had his own wrestling career. He never really reached the highs that Bray had, but he had some successes. And he had been out of the company, but then came back to work with Bray as this. So the company was very respectful of Bray and like what he had offered and whatnot. And eventually, Bo is his brother's name. Bo decided, I'm going to take my brother's legacy and continue this on. So he kept portraying the Uncle Howdy character, and then they roped in. Apparently it was all people that Bray had wanted to work with. So he brought back one of the Wyatt family members, or they brought back one of the Wyatt family members to the company. They brought up a guy from the developmental who was like, also had this kind of psychotic character that he was going off of. Another guy who portrayed like a silent artist type who could have been like a psycho serial killer, but had a heart of gold, brought him in. And then a woman who had a dark past where she was like kind of insane, but not like mentally, more of like loose cannon kind of thing. So they brought all of them in and then assigned them, okay, you're going to be the buzzard, you're going to be the rabbit, you're going to be the pig, you're going to be the witch, you know. And they've kind of kept this going on, which has been nice. And the house, apparently Bray always wanted to do a haunted house. So they're taking his characters and then have made it into a haunted house this year at Universal. Whew, that was a long thing to just say. That was the reason I wanted to go. Number one. So I haven't watched anything of that house because I want to go in unspoiled. To tie it back into gaming,
yeah,
there are 2 video game IPs that are at Universal Halloween Horror Nights this year. One being Fallout, based off the TV show's success. So it'll have TV. It's mainly the TV show that they're focusing on, but there's going to be some hints at the video game. And then everybody's favorite, Five Nights at Freddy's, has a house this year. So I have seen walkthroughs of both of those, because once again, I'm a scaredy cat and I want to know what I'm getting into. Both look very cool and amazing. I haven't watched much of the Fallout show, but enjoyed the first episode that I did watch. That house looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm interested to see what Easter eggs I can pick up on from the games. In terms of the Five Nights house, it's been very popular because the FNAF crowd is loyal to the grave.
Yeah.
But they do have a lot of animatronics from like the movie and stuff like that that they're
Oh,
using or rather produced to copy, and those look amazing. So yeah, we're going one night during this trip. And yeah, one, I'm really interested to see everything. Two, I'm interested to see how alive I will be at the end of the night with handling everything. And three, I'm just really intrigued to kind of be a part of like the atmosphere, because it seems like as passionate like as the Five Nights at Freddy's audience is, it seems like Halloween Horror Nights has like its own like really dedicated fan base of like there's extensive lore and like the icons of like who's poster childs and whatnot, and hints at this and hints at that, and this house was a scare zone and then it got made into a big house because it was so popular. So I'm just intrigued to be a part of that. um in terms of other houses, they do have 10 total. There's 5 IP houses: Fallout, Five Nights at Freddy's, the WWE house, then there's a Jason Universe house, and then there's a Terrifier house. And then they
don't go
have
into that one. Terrifying. Did you already watch the walkthrough of the Terrifier
I
house?
did, yeah.
Was it terrifying?
Um, I mean, once again, it's kind of hard to judge because, like, I'm in my safety. I'm, in, I'm nowhere near it. So me, I'm like watching it, being dumb, being like, oh yeah, I can handle all that. I think I'll be fine. In person, gonna be a very different story. Um, but I know we've briefly talked about Terrifier off stream, as I told you about this trip. Um, it seems interesting. Obviously, art's everywhere. A cool thing that they're doing this year is they're gonna have Art the Clown like randomly in the park, just walking around and like mingling with people too. But from what the house I've seen, there's like a bathroom scene that apparently smells rank, so something's gonna be going on there. There's a dry and wet path, so you could go one way, stay completely dry, and you'll get some scenes. And then there's another one where it's like raining and shit. I don't know.
Raining blood.
Yeah. But in terms of like the violent levels, because you told me like this is very gory, I was like, nah, nothing seems super egregious. I don't know. Like I said, it's gonna be very different once I'm in it.
Yeah, I don't know about gory. I just think Terrifier is very what's the word I'm looking for? It's like not despicable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of the word where it's like offensively gory, like not gory, but
Sure.
offensively like
Violent or whatever.
dark and
Mm-hmm.
violent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said in the third movie, the opening scene is wow. That'll get you every time.
Gotcha.
Don't watch the movies maybe, or maybe watch
Okay.
the first one. But
Sure.
yeah, it gets spiteful. That's the word I'm looking for. It's like
Mm.
spiteful.
Okay. Yeah, it seemed like they had a few scenes like there's stuff of him hacking people up or whatever. I think there's one where he's got a woman on like a table, the James Bond laser thing, but it's the chainsaw whoosh, or the blade with a prop. So I was like, yeah, all right. Um, yeah, but I don't know. Do you have any questions on Halloween Horror Nights?
No, no, I know one of our viewers, shout out to Mike,
Hmm.
he is also going to Halloween Horror Nights
Oh
on
no shit.
Halloween.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, he will appreciate the lore dive of the WWE things if he sees this episode, I'm sure.
Oh, good. I'm so.
Because yeah, he'll be able to understand it more because he is not a wrestling enjoyer, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll help him out.
Mm-hmm.
One of our friends is a big wrestling fan, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll kind of even it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that sounds cool with like the 5 characters and stuff. And I hope what was his name,
Bray.
Bray. I hope Bray haunts the shit out of that house. IRL.
Yeah.
I hope he's there watching, fucking around with stuff because
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like his dream. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's come to fruition. I hope you have a great time with that for
Thank you.
sure.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Hopefully everybody enjoyed me dumping lore about the Wyatt Six and the family and whatnot. Appreciate
Yeah, it's
everybody's
cool.
time with that. But to wrap up this episode, future games. TJ, what are you looking forward to down the line?
Well, it's technically not a future game.
Okay.
It came out this week.
Okay.
But I'm really looking forward to Silent Hill F. I already alluded to it earlier that it has like Souls-like combat. Um, really want to play this game. I'm really excited to play it. Just can't afford it at the moment, but
Sure.
you know, that's probably one of the first games I'm going to buy when I'm financially stable. It looks fucking incredible. I really enjoy Silent Hill. Silent Hill 2 scarred me when I was a kid, so I really it's got a special place in my heart actually. I remember me and my friends were obsessed with Silent Hill. And they wanted to play a Silent Hill role-playing game and we couldn't find one, so we just did the next best, like the biggest horror role-playing game there was, which was Call of Cthulhu,
Mm.
which is near and dear to my heart. So Silent Hill, in a weird way, has influenced me a lot. So I really appreciate it. I can't wait to dive into this new one. Like I said, they haven't had an entry in 12 years, so I'm excited to see what they do with it. And I love the 70s Japan vibe because 70s Japan was fucking wild. So uh, that'd be really cool to see. What about yourself? What are you looking forward to?
What did I? Oh, okay. So mine is a future release, which I think that's something we should probably point out here. Like, maybe we won't talk about future releases here. It'll be just maybe like new experiences to us of like something
Yeah.
in the backlog or whatever. Mine is a new one. It's kind of, and I hate to compare it, but it's kind of similar to Bad Cheese that we talked about last week, but only in art style in terms of what the subject matter was. Steamboat Willie, they're using that IP everywhere, but this one actually looks really, really cool. First person shooter, Mouse PI for Hire. I'm really looking forward to. Um, Seems like you are Detective Mouse trying to, get away from all the gangsters and clean up the town. Looks very impressive in terms of an art style. Think that Steamboat Willie, that Cuphead, like 2D animation, but in a 3D world. There's been a few trailers for this. I don't know if we have any news in terms of like a release date or anything for this. But yeah, this one's been on my radar for quite some time, so looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it too because I've heard it's been described as like a boomer shooter, a Doom style shooter.
Yes.
But it also has some PI moments where you're not just shooting things down, you're actually investigating some. So
Oh,
it
okay.
looks really interesting. And I can't wait for that game too. That looks fantastic. What's it called again?
Mouse PI for Hire.
Minus PI for hire. So that's the problem. I keep forgetting the name of it, but I remember that art
No
style as soon as I
worries.
saw it.
I freaked out about it at I think 6-1 Indie showed it off, not this past showcase, but the previous showcase. And I'm like, oh my god, it's Mouse, like MAUS. I'm like, and then a few minutes later, I'm like, no, that's the book, idiot. Hold on, no.
Yeah, no, that's not a fun book.
Yeah,
That's not don't go.
yeah.
That's not a fun time. If they made a video game of that, I would play it, but I wouldn't be happy about
Right.
it.
Whoopsie. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, everyone, that has been another episode of the Relatively Gaming Podcast. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Remember, if you aren't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It'll let you know when our videos go up. We got new episodes every Monday at noon that are dropping over there, over on the YouTube side of things. Soon, maybe Spotify side of things. If podcasts are more your cup of tea, we'll keep an eye on it. Who knows? But we'll let you know. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. TJ, thanks for hanging out as well. Always a good time chatting games with you. And everybody, we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Later, skaters.